We are back with movie confessions. Jacqueline, I have made my confession earlier. It is now time for you to confess to the classic Hollywood movie that you have not seen.
Well, this is a hard thing to do. As a TCM host, I think it's hard for all of us. But my confession is From Here to Eternity.
And how is it that you have never seen this movie? Is it a conscious thing or it just slipped through the cracks?
I think a little bit conscious and a little bit kind of like common with other people. You know, we have all seen that scene of Burt Lancaster and Deborah Carr making out on the beach.
Yes.
It's one of the most famous, iconic movie scenes of all time.
Yep.
And I know for a lot of people, you've seen King Kong, you know, on the top of the Empire State Building. You've seen, you know, the airport scene in Casablanca. And maybe in your mind, you think, oh, I get it. I know what that movie is about.
Yeah, exactly. I had the same thing with It Happened One Night. I've seen the hitchhiking scene. I've seen the Walls of Jericho scene. So yeah, I know that movie.
So that happens, but no. And I should know better than that as a film professor. But then also, I thought that it was much more of a war movie, that there were lots and lots of battle scenes. That's never really been my thing. As much respect as I have for everybody who has served in the military, war movies have never really captivated me. And so I think I didn't recognize just how much more of a character study this film really is.
Yeah, I understand. And I thought it was interesting when I saw the list that you and Alicia both picked war movies, you know,
quote
as
unquote,
like, quote unquote war movies. Of course, From Here to Eternity is a military soap opera.
It's a nice way to put it. I think, although the women characters, the great Donna Reed, the wonderful Deborah Carr, they have more substance and their roles are so much more important in the film than I expected. And then I guess there's also something about the vulnerability of the male characters too, because there's a lot of tragedy in this film that is independent of the war itself.
Right.
I guess another expectation that I had is that war movies that involve real life situations, shooting on actual bases, you know, you have to have the approval of the military. Or during that time, there had to be some cooperation. And I guess I thought, oh, well, this will just be another kind of like glorification of the Army. But no. Like the novel, although not as far as the novel from what I understand. This is a film that really looks at some of the complexities of the power relationships in the Army.
It was kind of miraculous that the movie actually got made. I mean, obviously they wanted to make the movie because it had some sexual stuff in it that they knew they could sell. But how they actually managed to get it past not just the production code, but the military itself. And you know, I don't want to give away spoilers because I'm sure there are people in the audience who have not seen the film. But it is interesting because it's a peacetime movie until it's not.
That's right.
You know, which is kind of fascinating.
Yeah, they shift into soldier mode in a different way. But you see what a soldier's life is like prior to that moment.
And it just seems so mundane in a way. You know, it's just drilling and then the obsession that they have over the boxing thing, that it's a huge part of the plot is that Pruitt won't fight. He won't box. You know, the character played by Montgomery Clift. It's like when I saw it again, and I had seen the movie, and of course, you know, boxing played a big part in my life, but I was surprised at like what a huge element of the plot that was in this film. And, you know, that he comes off, you think, is it because he's a pacifist? No. Not really, because he wants to be the first one in line, you know, it's just a very rich characterization of all of these people. But man, it's such a great ensemble in this film. They're all terrific.
Yeah, and the fact that they were all recognized for it, you know, with Oscar nominations and some wins is very impressive.
Well, I'm sure there are many people out there, Jacqueline, who haven't seen this movie as well. So
I hope so.
Here it comes. From 1953, here is the Best Picture Oscar winner, From Here to Eternity. Well, was that what you expected? No.
No.
But it's interesting, Jacqueline. I can only imagine what audiences thought in 1953 when they went to see this movie. Now, granted, the book was very popular, and I think people knew where it was going. But the filmmakers, it's interesting that they don't really tip their hand until just before the end, when Lancaster leans against the wall and you see the calendar and
That's
it
right.
says December 6th
That's
on the
right.
calendar.
Yes.
And like I'm sure there was a rustle and a nervousness in the theater at that point because
Yes.
it was fresh. It was only 12 years earlier Pearl Harbor had happened, and I just love that little bit of foreshadowing, and that was the only time it happens in the movie.
Yeah.
Is just showing the calendar.
Yeah, I thought the way that was done was really subtle and really interesting. Like you're saying, you see that calendar and then it's Sunday morning, there's like church bells ringing, there you see a clock.
Yeah,
So it's really kind of leading us up to this, still very fresh traumatic moment
yeah.
for many people who would have seen it in the theaters. This was a huge hit. I mean, this film was a blockbuster in a lot of ways. And so there must have been things about it that people felt they were getting something about I would think, the humanity of these people, the stories leading up to the folks who found themselves under attack that day.
Right. And I think enough time had passed from the war
Mm,
that you didn't have to make propaganda. You didn't have to make a jingoistic thing,
right.
because the war was over. And now you can kind of reflect
Mm,
on, so who were these people before they were pressed into service, to really sacrifice. And it's a very strong film in that way,
yeah,
that it just really makes you look at war movies from a different perspective,
I think
right?
that's true.
Like when Burt Lancaster comes to Deborah Carr's place, it's like, is this Peyton Place or what?
I could use a drink. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm wet. I'm already wet. How great is Deborah Carr, though?
She's wonderful. She's really like kind of cast against type in this film. She had typically played more prim and proper characters, but it works so beautifully here because as she reveals this traumatic thing that happened to her personally,
Yeah.
losing her child, stillborn child as a result of her husband's drunken philandering,
Yep.
that she's holding the line on that emotionally and not letting it, overtly take her over because she's not like some over the top emotionally wrought character. She
Mhm.
plays it so powerfully. And I think that Donna Reed is also fantastic in this
Amazing.
film.
And
Yeah.
talk about cast against type, right?
Yes.
This is Jimmy Stewart's wife from It's a Wonderful Life,
Mary
and
Bailey.
yeah, and now she's a prostitute. Oh
Yeah.
no.
Well, I mean, they softened that a bit from the novel. I
Yes.
mean, straight up clear she's a prostitute in the novel. Here she's whatever, a kind of escort at this club. But we
Yeah.
get it. We get what job she has and her desire that she expresses to make enough money to go home and make something decent of herself and
Right.
her life. It's a wonderful speech she has at that moment. And I assume that many women could identify with the way that she wants to fall in love, but she knows that the army, that a soldier is a particular kind of relationship that, that she could
Mhm.
lose really big,
Right. Right.
She can't have a true emotional connection with a man who's a soldier.
Right, exactly. It was really something that the military allowed that to happen because,
Yes.
Pruitt dies in friendly fire,
That's right.
and
Yeah.
not even friendly fire. It's like he's AWOL, shoot him,
Yeah.
and like he's running to serve, and they cut him down.
Mm.
So I mean, it
Mm.
surprises me that actually made it into the film.
Yeah. Surprises like that, I think, really kind of struck me as different from what I expected the film to be.
Yeah.
That Maggio, Frank Sinatra's character, also dies in large measure because of the torture that he endures in the brig
from his own comrades. Yeah.
yeah.
So here's a question, Jackie: was it worth the wait, and would you recommend this film?
Well, I shouldn't have waited this long to see it, but it was definitely worth watching. And I would definitely recommend it because I think it's a film that really gets us to think about that historical moment in a totally different way.
That was a great choice because I was happy to revisit it as well and watch this film again. But we're not done
All right.
because we do have one more movie confession coming up. Ben Mankiewicz will confess that he has actually never seen a classic film. Not a one. That's coming right up with Dave Karger and Ben Mankiewicz.
Next on TCM, Rebel Without a Cause, then the two Mrs. Carols, and later, High Sierra. TCM's got friends in low places tonight.